Hello, guys. I'm Federico Poletti, journalist and independent curator based in Milano, reporting for Vogue Italy. Happy to be here with Amber from the Fabricant for a talk about how digital is really shaping our new perspective in fashion. We will discover with Amber how a digital creator works, especially in this special moment of our lives. Amber, so we'll start with the first question. When did you decide to go for the digital approach instead of a physical fashion production?
Oh, that's already such a long time ago. I decided to stop making clothes, I think around 2014, when I was still in fashion school, because back then there were so many crazy stories coming from the Rana Plaza factory collapsing to all kinds of horrible things happening in the industry. And I remember as a fashion designer thinking, okay, I'm going to make another collection for this world. Does it really need it? Do we really need more clothes, for the world to move forward? And within my school, at that point, we had a semester where we learned how to use technology or 3D to create clothes. And back then I saw the potential because a lot of the industry still wasn't digital. So a lot of time, but our lives were more digital every single day. So we used Instagram back then already, and like all these sort of platforms came up. And I thought, why is fashion actually not there in the digital space with us? And then I thought, why can't we create clothes digitally and wear them digitally? So I decided to graduate with a full digital collection, so not make any clothes. And my teachers really looked at me like, what are you doing? Like, you're crazy. Like, how can you even not create clothes without, wanting to design clothes? How can you even think about not working with fabric? And for me, this was an easy choice because I thought the world was saturated anyway. And luckily, I was able to graduate with a digital collection, but nobody knew how to judge it because back then it was so new. But yeah, I'm really happy because ever since then I haven't touched fabric yet. Still, people are wearing our clothes digitally. So it's been a crazy journey, and luckily I found the right people that did believe in the idea. So I'm super happy to work together with my two co-founders, and together we founded the Fabricant from 2018. So really crazy.
And you started with your first collection in 2018, and that collection is still getting so many comments and support from all over the world. How was the reaction, and what was the statement with that first digital creation?
I think we wanted to present a collection that was fully digital to prove the world that we could create a fashion experience that did not need any humans and a location, and the whole collection being shipped and all of these models needing to have makeup, the photographers, the location, everything. We wanted to see, can we all do that in a computer, and can we get the same emotional response from people that are watching it? So will it still feel the same as a fashion experience, so that we can see how we can actually change the fashion industry for the better and not have to fly everybody all across the world to see the fashion shows, but actually create an alternative. And I think back then we were trying to prove that it was possible. And with that, I was also questioning myself as a designer, like, can I also design next to an algorithm, for instance? So part of the collection is also inspired and used with an algorithm. So it's like we used an algorithm to predict shapes and colors and everything for the collection. And I can explain later like a little bit more about it. But it was also for me as a designer to question myself, like, what is my job in the future, and how will I secure that? And I think we always, as the Fabricant, we always try to question ourselves, like, what is possible using technology, and how can we create that story that will stick with the people's minds? And I think back then when people were looking at it, they really didn't understand, what it was at first. So we were showing it all kinds of festivals, and actually it's been shown hundreds of thousands of times online, and it's still circulating, and people are still using it for all kinds of things. But it's crazy, because back then people were asking me like, oh, can I actually buy these clothes? Like, can I own them? And I told them, I can give you a USB stick, but that's going to be it for now. And it was a concept. But right now we've developed products with which people could actually wear the clothes digitally, and we're creating tools where people will be able to wear them digitally. So yeah, it's really crazy to see how far it's come. But right now you're actually able to wear the collection on multiple different platforms. So we're working together with platforms like DressX, which is a place where you can dress yourself digitally. Our collection is available in Sansar, and which is a VR world where you can wear the clothes. We have a partnership coming up with Das 3D, which is super exciting. So the thing about digital product is that you can literally put it out everywhere. Even though the collection is 2 years old, it's still circulating, and it doesn't need to be shipped anywhere. It's just a digital file. You can also download it for free on our website. So we're trying to spread it as far as possible, let's say, and it's still spreading.
So more sustainable. In this way, fashion can be definitely sustainable. Huh?
Exactly. That was why I started it in the first place.
That's cool. And what is your role as a digital creator in the creative process? And what is also now the new role of technologies in this new scenario?
I think as a creator, I always see things as my tools. So I have ideas, and the software that I use is a tool. So for me to use 3D is because I felt comfortable with using that tool. For other people, it would be, whatever tool fits you best. But for me, as a digital creator, as a kid, I already loved working in Photoshop. Like, my uncle taught me how to use Photoshop, and I've always been super fascinated with the digital world and what it can do. And I remember that at some point when I got in touch with this software, I was obsessed. Like, it felt like a game that I could play endlessly. So I was constantly changing the shape of the design. And the amazing thing is, within the 3D, you can just grab a piece of fabric and endlessly drape it around an avatar, and actually change the color, change the shape, change the fabric without ever needing to touch like a physical piece. And it's so immersive. It feels like a game, and you never have to go to the fabric store anymore in the middle of the night. As a fashion student, that was my reality. But because of digital, I could just create anything without having to use the materials. And to me, that opened up this huge new world of possibilities of where I could endlessly create, without needing to worry about resources or money or etc. And I think it opens up a whole new world for any creative that is interested in creating fashion. And especially because fashion is usually very costly to create. If you want to create a collection as a designer, you need to have a lot of money. And I think with digital, it really opens up the possibility to a more inclusive way of actually giving people the opportunity to use technology and to create collections before they ever exist. And if you want to create them, you can find the funds, but you can also wear the clothes digitally. So a lot of young designers are, for instance, on platforms like DressX, selling their digital clothes and earning money with that. And our plan for the future is that people will be able to monetize their digital items on these platforms so that they can sustain themselves. And I think that is sort of the future of fashion in general, is the creator rather than the big brands, but it will be, the creators themselves and the people wearing it that adjust the looks. And we really love that sort of customization aspect. Yeah.
So do you think this is the message that also the industry can learn from your approach, from your digital approach to fashion?
I hope so, because I think the industry is so secretive and so sort of closed off in their own little world. And I think that, opening up your design vision and opening up the possibilities of sharing your knowledge and sharing, the reason why fashion is so behind in every single process is because everybody is so secretive and nobody wants to share, actually we're doing it in this way. That's why fit is still not standardized anywhere, because people don't want to share their fit, and they don't want to share whatever they work with because they want to be the best. And to me, I think the 3D industry is very inspirational because they all work together in open source relationships. So they share knowledge with each other, they share files, and then from that they learn and grow. And I believe that if the fashion industry would take that step to actually work together and with that grow, I think that would bring us way more forward and would be a way more interesting thing to see happening in the coming years. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's really hope for that. That's so true, that we need more inclusion and be open to other realities. That's for sure. And what is the essence of a fashion products for you in your vision?
Oh, I think it's the message that you're telling with the piece of clothing. It needs to feel like it is an emotional connection and telling a certain story. So to me, it's no longer just about making something pretty, but it's also about what is the message that you're bringing with it. What is the message that you want to tell the world? And for me, fashion has always been about that, about what is the deeper emotional message that society needs to hear right now, and what is it that you can create with fashion that people can wear and can express without needing to necessarily speak. It's a language without speaking, so it's more of an emotional language. And I think we need more of that in the world, rather than meaningless trends that fade. Can we create these sort of stories that will resonate and that will bring people closer together? And I think that fashion, or a fashion item, or a digital fashion item, can speak a lot of languages, and it can speak very widely. And I hope that fashion design will go back to that sort of notion of being more meaningful in society, rather than just being something that is chucked away and next season we have the next. I think even having seasons every single season, I think, is ridiculous. So how can we create something that has meaning again, and that people will see and take seriously, rather than saying oh yeah, fashion, it doesn't really mean anything, but actually it's the backbone of the entire society, because it's a language that you speak. So I hope with digital we can bring back that layer of meaning and storytelling, and it will turn away from the unsustainability and the negative connotations, but it can actually mean something for us again, let's say. Yeah.
You also started with a very important collaboration with important brands. How was to work with them, and how was matching your vision with the brand concept?
Oh, it's very interesting, because every single brand comes with their own sort of narrative of the world. And I think digital can add a lot of value to every single brand's narrative. So, for instance, we just did a collaboration with Buffalo Shoes. I can take that as an example because it's very clear brand and everybody knows it. They have these huge platform shoes which are just very iconic to them, and it's very important to them. And what we did is actually think about sort of how we could use their design philosophy and translate that into something that would resonate with the audience in a digital product. And one of the things they use a lot in their designs is flames. And also, we think that at the moment, society is at a point where actually everybody's so angry that everybody wants to burn everything down. But fire is also a very nice force for transformation. So we wanted to create a sort of campaign around the idea of fire as a force for transformation, which would give people the opportunity to wear this digital-only shoe, which was flaming with fire, and then spread the message of what they are burning for in their lives right now. And with this, we sort of combine the emotional storytelling layer of the Fabricant together with the classic brand identity of Buffalo shoes, for instance. And I think this is how we sort of look at all of the collaborations that we do with brands, is how can we create something that is valuable for them in the digital world and can actually drive more interest for digital only products. Let's say then, rather buying a new pair of like physical Buffaloes, maybe your avatar wants to wear some flaming shoes.
And then my last question is about your territory, because I'm terribly fascinated by Amsterdam and the Netherlands as a country which is full of creative people. I think about visionary designers like Iris Van Arpen, but also so many other startups like you. So I was wondering how this relationship with your country is nurturing your vision and influencing your concept and your ideas.
Oh, that's so nice. Like, I've never heard this question. I think it's really cool that you see that. And for me, like, I think it's because we're a very small country, and I think we have the idea that we can sort of influence the world, even though we're quite small. I think that is something that we get taught from a very young age, is that we do have an influence, even though we're very tiny. So we kind of have this Dutch, I don't know, I wouldn't say arrogance, but I think more like that we don't see ourselves as small, even though we very much are. And I think therefore there's a lot of, and also there's a lot of innovation happening in the Netherlands itself. We're quite forward with technology. So as a designer, you also get pushed into that direction very much by things like Dutch Design Week or any other platforms that really drive this innovation. So I think from a very young age, you get you get in touch with a lot of technology. And I think that is sort of the reason why we always want to challenge the world and the way things are done, is because we dare to question things, because we're not such a, how do you say that, big country that can't move. We're quite small. So I think that is sort of the reason why, the only thing I can think about. But yeah, I'm quite happy that Amsterdam is moving forward with so much innovation. So I love that it's happening. So it's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was really inspiring to hear your story and, yes, to understand how fashion can be meeting technology and sustainability. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this interview. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.